Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this pull bow, or like pull friendly bow, in the transparent material, and this works for any of the transparent materials that are available. This one is a really pretty one from Enchanted Part Sparkle Craft Supply, which is a yellow star version, which is this one. But I also have different versions of these jelly materials. I've got like this shimmer holographic, this full glitter one. I've had like leopard print with leopard print glitter, zebra glitter, and there's so many different varieties out there. I'll link some supplies in the description below, but I'm going to be using this one. And from a full A4 sheet, I measured it down, and you can get two, and you have a little off cut as well, which I will use. Now with this, I've already cut one out to do the tutorial. As you can see on here, when I placed it, when you're using this A4 size to get two sheets, you actually lose a teeny tiny bit of this edge here. But with this particular style, it doesn't matter, because you can just cut it down, and I'll show you how in a minute, because it's just a couple of millimeters off, and it's easier to do it this way than it is to cut them out individually. Believe me, I've tried so many times and it just slips up and everything goes everywhere. So this is the quickest and easiest way to do it. And these sheets at the moment, they're costing about £1 to £1.50, so two bows out of this is still quite a good good profit margin in these. And also, if you wanted to just do the tails or just do the top half of the bow, you could do them individually, but this is just the easiest way to do it. So like I said, I measured it, I've cut it down, and what I do is make sure it covers your tail. That's the most important part. Make sure it completely covers your tail. And I angle it just a little bit, so I get as much of that there as I can while covering that side. And then I have my Sizzix Big Shot plates. And this die was from Harribows. This is a perfect pinch, and I believe this is the 4-inch version, but there's many different sizes as this. Goes from 5-inch all the way down to like 2.5. And you place that on your Big Shot. And choose your handle, and you turn this through until it comes out the other side. And then most people would leave theirs on the desk, but obviously as I'm making the tutorial, I will take my pieces out. And like I said, you do get a bit of waste, but like I said, you can use these for centres, you can use these for little scraps and things like that. So I'm just going to put those ones over there and move this out of the way. Now, as I said, because this is no longer perfectly accurate, because this side is a little bit shorter than that one, what you do is you line it up so your centre is done, and you can see the difference there. All you do is, with your pair of scissors, cut it down so it's even. You barely lost anything at all. In fact, you can barely see it. That's how little you're losing off that size. So it doesn't make any difference to the size, it just balances it out, so you haven't got one side or one loop that's bigger than the other. And we don't really need this centerpiece, but I tend to cut it just naturally. Cut that piece out because it's just easier than cutting it out separately. Okay, now with this, just make sure, so I want the side where the stars come up. So make sure you've got your stars facing the right way up, so you want them so it's that way. And with these, I have extra strength Goodband thread, and I double thread mine, and we are going to sew these. Now it sounds insane, but I have tried every combination of glue, from super glue to hot glue to Gorilla Glue adhesive, green top, yellow top, E6000, everything. It doesn't hold 100% these materials without popping unless you also add some thread. And you have to think, people are like, but what about going in the pool? Won't chlorine wear it down? Yes, it will do. But is it any different than wearing a hair bubble in the pool? Is it any different than you wearing your swimming costume, which all thread has a limit of water resistance, because obviously we put all our clothes in the washing machine, so it's not as big of a deal as it is. And it's the same with the chlorine on your clips. People are like, oh, but with the chlorine it will rust. It won't rust as fast as you think it is, and if the people are drying out the bow and not leaving it in a damp, wet, warm, humid environment, then it is likely to last them quite a while, even if they wore it in the swimming pool for a full swim, unless they were literally putting it on wet every single time with that little bit of ribbon and the clip where the rust might affect on the edge, it won't make that much difference. Now the first thing I do, and this is a bit that, like I said, not everybody would think about, to hold it first, I work out the centre, which is here, and I pop that through right on the edge, and then from this side I bring it over, and again make sure this is centred. You can pinch it so you know. It's more even, and the more centred you get, the better you are. But you only want it a couple of millimetres over that centre, so like half a centimetre. And then you want to do the exact same this side, and again go through the middle. There we go. And that's there. And then what I do is from the top where they're all overlapped, to the bottom where they're all overlapped, and use your desk if you need to, and then bring that back to the centre, pull your thread through, and then I leave this on for a moment while I am doing this bit. And then you want a double pinch on this, so 2 peaks. So have your thread in the middle, and then bring this back down, so you pinch it up so it meets, and then you pinch it back so that you've got even, so they're pulled back evenly on both sides. And then what you want to do is curve it so it makes it easier. And then with this extra thread that you've got through the middle, you can then proceed to use this A as a guide to make sure it's centred, and B, with your extra strand thread that's already attached and sewn in, that you know is nice and secure, you can wrap that back through. And with this you can do it 2 ways. You can either go back up through the middle, or you can do what I do, which is line it up all the way through the centre there, use your desk and go all the way through, pull it nice and tight, back around a couple more times, and then what I do in the back is bring it up through there, bring it up through this, and yes, it does take longer than glue, but you've got extra security and you know your bow is 100% going to last and it's not going to come apart. And then with the tails, you can do these separately or you can do these together like I do. Once you're 100% certain that is 100% in place, I fold this in half, and again I'm going to sew these. So we're going to go from above, 1, 2, 3, 4, and come back through so it's the same way that we started, and this will give you 2 pinches like the peaks on our main body of the bow. And again, just make sure it's even. And the other thing I do is I sort of try and get it pinched before I bring it all the way up, because it just makes it a little bit easier. Try not to get your thread tangled. I'm much more naturally like able when I'm not filming, you know. I'm not as big of a klutz as you see on camera sometimes. It's just, you know, when you're talking and making rather than just doing, I just don't seem to be as like naturally unscattered. I'm naturally less don't get me wrong, I'm a complete klutz in real life, but I'm less clumsy when I'm making without people watching me through a camera as I am filming a tutorial. If you've watched that far and that makes any sense to you in any way, shape or form, yeah, hopefully. But yeah, I am nuts. And that's what you do. Bring it all the way around. Wrap it all the way around. I do it a good few times. And again, if you want to, you can sew it all the way through. if you trust the wrap round, whichever way is going to make you feel comfortable and secure. And again, thread that through, loop that back, pull it nice and tight, do it again, bring that round, there. The other thing with the thread is when we are going to glue our alligator clip, it gives it a little bit of something to grip onto. So this bit of thread here will give this back of the alligator clip something to grip, because this alone against the bow, again, metal to this plastic, it just doesn't grip and doesn't hold. I have tried again super glue and this super glue and glue gun across the back. You end up seeing the glue because it sort of makes the material go like cloudy, and again, I've tried so many combinations, it either makes it go cloudy or it doesn't stick or it pings off eventually. So what I'm going to do is put a tiny little bit and put the glue gun on it to grip, and we put a tiny, and I'm talking about the tiniest little bit of super glue. And like I said, this is just to physically hold this in place. And what I did with the versions I made myself, I literally glued it all the way across on some of them, and I literally had clips. I had these clips holding them in place. I had one this side and one like this, and I had to leave all of them for 48 hours to make sure that they were secure, and that I was happy with all of them. Now with this, like I said, if you wanted to try a transparent material, you can do, but like I said, no 100% guarantee it's going to stay in place. So I use a little bit of ribbon. It's only the tiniest bit. Don't forget to heat sew your end sew just like you normally do. Make sure your clip's actually in place, but again, this will help it hold. If not, bring it through the centre, over the top, open your clip up again, do it super tight, because as you can see my clip's moving a little bit. And then what I do from the bottom is I do a little twist over to give it a little bit of interest there. Make sure my clip's adjusted to where I want it and that it's nice and tight, so it's going to stay in place. And I cut that bit extra off there. Don't forget to heat sew. Make sure you don't melt any bit of your bow there, as I almost did. Told you, so naturally clumsy. Little bit of glue there. Wrap that round. And again, what I do is if my dips don't look 100% accurate, put my fingers in and I sort of give them a little wiggle until they match. And there you go, some cute little perfect pinch in the jelly material. And these, I wouldn't say 100% pool safe, but I would say pool friendly, pool adjacent, can be used swimming. But like I said, will eventually, the clips here will rust and this will sort of possibly corrode or potentially mould if not completely dried out after every swim, but it will last a good long while. So there you go, thank you for watching and I'll speak to you all soon.